I'm Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, the scientific healer, and today I'm going to talk about the awakening process. So, a lot of people go through this, especially in their 40s, their 50s, and sometimes their 60s. But actually, a lot of children and even young adults are going through that process right now. And sometimes people are thinking, oh my goodness, this is such, things are happening to me and I don't get it. So I'm going to go through a few of the symptoms that you may be experiencing, and no, you're not crazy and it's not part of the aging process, because a lot of people actually do not go through this. So I went through this actually when I started looking up more and more of the symptoms. I know my symptoms, but I actually had a lot of these characteristics fairly early on. And I'll just describe what some of the physical sensations that you may be experiencing at the moment, and that are an indication that you are going through an awakening process. So let's talk about what that means, actually, the awakening process. So when you are when you are becoming more and more aware of your true nature, and that is a spiritual being having a physical experience, as you become more and more aware of it, things start to shift in your being. And it could be the result of a very large loss or traumatic incident, where you start to question yourself, like, is that all there is? Or it could be that you've gotten to a point in your life, let's say you worked really, really hard to develop a really promising career. I did the same thing. And then a few years into it, you kind of go, really? Is this all there is? You mean I worked this hard to get to this point? Some of the physical symptoms that you may be experiencing is that your senses get really amplified, and you want to isolate yourself because going out, it becomes too much. I noticed that I was very sensitive to sounds. I couldn't have two different sounds on at the same time. If one person was playing music in one room and listening to TV in the other room, I'd go and turn them both off, and my kids would yell at me. But, it's just like I couldn't take it. And I also became sensitive to light, so I would not go out in the bright sunlight for very long, or wear a hat and dark glasses. And I would also, everything was super sensitized on my skin. So if a thread in my clothing was poking in me somewhere, it would drive me absolutely crazy. So that's the amplification of your five senses. You smell, the taste becomes stronger, all of those things. And you may also experience all of a sudden things that you liked before, like certain TV shows, certain movies, certain foods, and you now try them and you're going, oh, I'm kind of tired of this stuff. I don't really want to eat that, or I really don't want to watch that. And I've even experienced that, where I was this big science fiction buff and I would watch all the Star Treks, and I started watching a few of the newer ones. And I'm going, I don't think I like this. It's too much fighting. And the other thing you might notice is that you can't stand dysfunctional relationships anymore. Any movies, any family members, they start like nagging on each other, and you just want to get out of the way and going, yeah, no, not for me. Other things you might find is that all of a sudden you become very sensitive to certain foods, and you develop a whole bunch of food intolerances, like developing allergies to wheat and nuts, and you might even notice that your weight change goes either up or way down. I've known people whose weights have gone way down. In my case, it went up, and I just discovered that it's actually a way to get grounded. When your weight goes up and you haven't eaten a whole lot extra and you keep on all that exercise, it's a way of your body saying, hello, I need grounding. And the other thing that I noticed is I got really dizzy a lot. And that is also a problem with grounding. And sometimes you'll have episodes of intense energy followed by episodes of no energy. And you'll also notice that you'll be clumsy sometimes, and you're going like, what happened to me? I used to be so coordinated. That happened to me too. And the other thing that you'll also notice is that certain situations make you very uncomfortable. So all of these things that you could be experiencing are not that you've gone crazy. It's that your senses are opening up to the real world, not just the physical world, but the real world, all of the dimensions of energy that are out there. And that's where you also may experience a heightened clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, intuition, like the messages coming through get really strong, and things like that. So some of the things that you may be thinking during that time include that you think that your life isn't quite right, like it's something wrong with it, like it's false, and you're looking for purpose, and you're looking for what you want to be doing in your life. And sometimes you feel absolutely alone. Trust me, you are not alone. In fact, there are children that are being born awakened, and their parents don't know what to do with them, and they're wondering like, what's going on? Like, I don't understand why they don't see what I can see. And I don't understand why they're telling me this thing when I can see on them that it's not true. so so you all also experience that same thing. So this is a lot of the symptoms that you've gone through, and you're sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I see some people say I see some people say, oh, it sounds just like me. Yes, a lot of people go through the same process. It's like cracking the nut open and revealing the inner core, and that's the precious meat that's inside, that's you. And we have all these shells around us, like we built walls and walls to protect that like soft inner part of ourselves. And as we crack open the walls, sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's difficult. I went through weeks and weeks of crying, like, oh my gosh, these emotions are so strong, I don't even know what to do with them. So I just cried them out. And this was when I was in my 40s, right? So this is 25 years ago. So, what to do in these situations to get relief from it? So, the fastest way to do that is to start looking at what you are not willing to let go of from your past. Like I've done a lot of purging lately, especially where I had these notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of science notes from my laboratory, and I just took them and I put them all in recycle, right? And this was a big major purging because this was something I was hanging on to, and I have not been in a science department for a good 5-6 years, and the chances of me writing more is slim to none. And the other thing is to realize that you're not going crazy, that you don't need a cure for it. So that will allow you to relax and take some nice deep breaths. So this particular breathing exercise that I'll describe to you right now is a really good way to help you get grounded and back in your body. Because that dizziness that you're feeling is when the spirit slips up out of the body, and so it's floating up here going, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't like it in that body because my life is horrible. So this is exercise. You just imagine you keep your spine straight because it helps the energy flow through the body. You keep your spine straight and your shoulders pulled back a little bit. And you can either do it sitting or standing. If you're standing, put your feet about shoulder width apart. When you're sitting, put your feet about shoulder width apart on the floor. And you can imagine a big giant grounding cord. You can even have it to be quite a bit in diameter and create a vortex in it that's rotating in this direction, because it'll help pull out all of that dark energy that's slowing you down. And it also will release all of the tension that's bugging you. And what you want to do is take some nice deep breaths all the way down into your belly button. And then hold it for a couple of seconds and release. And when you breathe it all the way down, imagine that the air is filling you up all the way to your fingers and toes. And what that does is it helps bring you back in your body. And by focusing on 3 inputs, counting, the breath process, and your posture, by focusing your mind on 3 inputs, it brings you back into the present moment, and everything else around you will fall away. So something that I do every morning, I get up and exercise. I did some yoga this morning. I went for a brisk walk afterwards, and then I took a salt shower. You can also take a salt bath. That's normal. You don't need Epsom salts. You can just get sea salt from the store. I go to get it at the bulk section. White sea salt is fine. I take a little scoop of it every morning, and I put some in the palm of my hand, get it a little bit wet. I start at the top. You don't need to scrub. Just get yourself salty, as much as you can. Back, arms, down the legs, and so on. And that helps wash that spiritual poopy energy off of you. It really does help. And some people are helped a lot by having crystals around. I always have my rocks everywhere. I spent 40 years studying minerals in the laboratory, and I always had a set of them everywhere. And I've got them. I have all my jewelry is also all minerals, except for the diamonds are precious, but everything else like amethyst and so on, they're semi-precious. And by having minerals, it helps ground you. And the way you choose them is that when you go into a shop, whatever you have an affinity for, just when you go over, you pick it up and you go, do I want this? And you'll hear yes or no. And you can put them everywhere. You can put them one in your purse, one in your pocket, one by your nightstand, one by where you work. It just really helps get you grounded because the crystals are doing the same thing. They're very grounding. If you're familiar with essential oils, they also help. And it's the same thing, whatever you have an affinity for. It's very, very helpful. And the next thing is to go out in nature, to walk outside, especially if you walk outside barefooted on land or on grass or on beach sand. It's very, very grounding, especially if you're walking through the shore, the water, and your feet are barefooted and you're walking through the water on the sand. Very grounding, very healing. And the last thing is a guided meditation, especially the ones that help you get back in your body and do the spiritual, what I'd call spiritual or energetic hygiene on your body to help release all of those excess energies and hooks. So a lot of those things that you're feeling around other people is that you're finally noticing that they can cord to you. And the cording is just a line of energy, that exchange energy between you and that other person. When you're intimate with somebody, you develop them, more than one usually. We are all connected heart to heart, but we have these energy cords that are everywhere, and I go through a process of pulling them out every morning. So these are some of the things, and you can download a free guided meditation off of my website at scientifichealer.com. It's right there on the front page. On the left side, you'll see Wake Up Your Brain audio. If you click onto the articles tab, there's another one that is 14, so that one's 11 minutes, and the other one that's 14 minutes is good for falling asleep too. Both of them perform all of the energy hygiene, and a lot of the people that have used them use them regularly. I have people that told me they fired their psychiatrist because all of those crazy symptoms they were feeling, which is part of the awakening process, really became mitigated and they got really calm with it. So they're free. They're for you. they will help you get to that place. And if you are experiencing that awakening process, please connect with me at scientifichealer.com/appointment. I have a program that helps people that are in the awakening process and are wanting to know more about their special gifts. We all have a unique set of gifts. My unique gift is not only being a medical intuitive, but also being able to heal the physical in many ways. A lot of people are really good at emotional, they're really good at mental healing, they're good at relationships. I'm pretty good at that too. But for me, my real strength is helping people heal the physical. Also, I can also teach you how to heal the physical for other people. And I've had a class running now for about 4 months, and all of the students are coming back and telling me that miracles have happened in their lives with their loved ones and also with themselves. And if you like this video, hit the like button below, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of other tips for healers, business people, and also for people to help them with their own energy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.